Libra, hello there, my beautiful friends. We're going to do your general tarot reading for late June 2026. Thank you so much for joining me today. You know, I appreciate each and every single one of you. So let's get right down to business as always and start you off with an oracle card here, just so we could dip our toes in the energy and see what's happening for the lovely Libra collective. I hope you're all doing fabulous and fantastic, my friends. Let's get it going here. My guide, spirit team, talk to me. What do we got for the beautiful Libra collective in late June 2026? What energies, messages, insights can we take a little peek at? And yeah, we're just going to take a real quick look at this first card. Then we'll get into the full reading itself. And at the very end, I'll pull you a bonus card from the Shadowland Tarot just to see what might be in the shadows or what shadow work you can lean into, which is always interesting. But let's get it going here. Let's rock and see what we got for Libra in late June 2026. What's the vibe? What's the energy? Let's have a good time, my friends. We're going to have some fun today. Let's get this card out. There we go. Cool. Yeah, it's a little sleepy for some reason, or it could be about rest and relaxation. I do like this card because there's a lot of positives, especially when it comes to like mindset, where your head's at. But I mean, there could be a flip side to that coin, just like with everything, right? Now, before we fully dive into that, if you're new here, I'll be speaking about the June subscriber surprise towards the end, so you might want to check that out. And also, if you could kindly illuminate that like button by tapping it right on its third eye, I'd greatly appreciate it. But enough of the promo, back into the reading. Let's talk more in depth about this card. So as you can see, we have this individual here wearing some pajamas, a little nightcap on. We got a dream catcher. We have these little mice dancing around. It's very nonsensical, and it feels like a dream to me. So whenever I see anything that connects to sleep, there's a few archetypes that always pop into my mind. First and foremost, some of you might be a little tired, right? If you're burning the candle at both ends, if you got a lot on your plate, dealing with a lot of different stuff, this is very Four of Swords like, where you might need a little rest, recuperation, relaxation. Watch out for like a funky sleep schedule. That could be a big thing for some of you. This could be important for some like dreams as well. So if you're the type to have some very vivid dreams, maybe Spirit's trying to communicate with you through that. A good aspect to this card is the imaginative, right? So this is good for any sort of creative expression. So whether it's art, whether it's music, whether it's writing, anything really, this is great for thinking outside of the box and ideas. But what is the other side of the coin we were talking about? I'm sure some of you could already guess it. This card could be in its head quite a bit, right? It could be head in the clouds, daydreaming, overthinking. So just watch out for that. I know Libra is a beautiful air sign. You have very active minds, and it does seem quite active here. But for some of you, maybe you just need some rest and relaxation. We're just going to put him down right there. Let's get into tarot. And yeah, I always say that first card, it doesn't make or break the reading. It's just a little footnote. So let's get you 3 tarot cards in the upright. Then we'll get into that intuitive juiciness. Shuffle it up one time here for the lovely Libras. And while we get this deck shuffled up and ready to go, let's talk about last week's reading. It was very intriguing to me. It had a lot of fire-air combination going on. But the reading was titled The Big Risk. Now, risk does also come with reward sometimes, but the energy did feel a little impulsive. And I know Libras are generally a bit measured in their approach when it comes to things. So maybe there's someone around you where the energy was a little volatile, or maybe you were like, hey, screw it, I'm just going to do it. It was like one of those where it's like, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to jump into something. So we're going to see what shows up this week. As you know, energy is very fluid, never set in stone. So we take this how it hits for you, because we could be seeing your vibe or somebody else, right? Let's get it going here. 3 cards to start for the lovely Libras. What do we have in late June? Thank you. Cool. All right. So we're starting off with the death card. That's something to watch out for. I don't want anyone getting nervous about it. It's just scorpionic and change-based type of energy. All right. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that, of course. Let's get a couple more out here. What do we got for the lovely Libras? Thank you. Okay. All right. So we got the 6 of Wands. These energies are kind of complete opposites, really, right? Because this one energy here on the front is like, could be a little tough and difficult, but the 6 of Wands is beautiful energy. Let's get one more here. What do we got for the Libras, please? What do we got? Thank you. Cool. All right. So you're going to have a bonus this week as well, but we do have Judgment right here on the back end, which could be good. It's very intense. It does share some similarities with the Death card in the front. There's a lot of Scorpio energy here already, and we'll go into that a little bit further. And then we got our good pal here, the King of Wands, right on the back end. So let's go through. I'll give you some of the classical meanings and archetypes, then we'll get into that juicy intuitive stuff. But at first glance, You know me, I always love to look at the elements. I feel like that frames the reading and tells us how the energy is going to flow. And we do still have this fiery energy that's lingering over from last week, right? We got the Six of Wands, King of Wands in your bonus, that's fire. We have the Death card, which is technically water. And we have Judgment, which is Plutonian energy, at least how I view it. And I'll explain that further. Now, when it comes to the wands, the fire, that's the realm of action. So whether it's actions you take, the actions other people take, the actions you want to take, the actions you decide not to take, that's a big thing. Wands and fire represent actionable things, and it could also represent energy levels. So remember what I was saying with that very first card about maybe needing to refill the energy reserves. Maybe some of you are starting to rebound and feel much better, but some of you could feel a little zapped when there's a lot of fire showing up. The only downside to fire energy, and you usually work very well with it as an air sign, air and fire work well, but fire can be explosive. There could be a volatility to it. So that lingers over from last week. Now, water is the internal realm, the emotional realm. So matters of the heart, things, people, situations that we're emotionally invested in, things that we care about. It's big when it comes to partnerships. Water is that imaginative, creative expression we were seeing earlier as well. So we do see some pretty concise themes already. Now, if we're not talking about the creativity and all that kind of stuff, water, the downside of it is the ebb and flow, the in, the out, the up, the down, the back, the forth. So that's something we want to watch out for. And water can be very intense. And then the Plutonian energy, I link Judgment to Pluto, the planetary body, which is all about the shifting change. So we do have some themes. Let's go through and start building this out piece by piece. Position number one, we start with the death card. And again, don't get freaked out by it. And I always say, like, whenever we see like tarot and readings on TV and movies, the reader is always pulling out the death card, right? But to me, I don't always think like, oh, worst case scenario, oh, huge problem, oh, ending. And of course, it can represent that, right? Like it can represent endings and difficult things, difficult situations. But when I see this and tie it into the scorpionic energy, I think of a phoenix rising from the ashes, right? I think of change, transformation, metamorphosis. That's the big thing here. And it's not always for the worst. Change can be difficult, but a lot of times it's moving in a good path. And life is about perpetual change. I say that every time it shows up, but sometimes it's more intense than others. Now, yes, when we get to the downside or the darker side of the death card, it can represent endings, it can represent loss. It is also a very karmic energy, too. So if you've been feeling a little down in the dumps, this card could be it. It's karmic as well. So that's another thing to note, especially with Judgment here as well, because there's some similar themes. So we'll see what's up with it. Again, I'm not really concerned. And for those of you connected to Scorpio, that energy is really, really shining through this week for some reason. Now, moving to the middle, the reason I'm not super concerned about this death card is we have the Six of Wands. Beautiful. And we see this person, they're in a parade, they got their laurels, they're being celebrated. So this is one of my cards of complete and total victory coming out on top. Now, if we put that triumphant energy to the side, the glory, I really like this card. Sometimes it can represent attention, whether it's wanting attention, giving attention, receiving attention. This is a very visible type of energy. This is great for business. It's great for notoriety and reputation. That's another thing. So maybe there's certain things about reputation that are on some of your minds. The only downside that I link to the Six of Wands is sometimes it could be unwanted attention, but there's a big difference between confidence and ego, right? And this card can straddle that line sometimes. So if you're connected to someone that has a bit of an inflated ego, Six of Wands could represent that. So we'll keep an eye on it. Now, moving to the back end, we do have Judgment, right? And we see the Archangel Gabriel, the communicator of God, blowing that trumpet, the dead rising from the ashes. So it's funny how we have like death on the front and the dead rising on the back. So that might be a theme of potential things looping back around or revisiting. We'll see when we get into the choir fires. But Judgment to me, if it's not literal decisions, literal judgment calls, because some of you might be in that place where it's a crossroads, like, what do I do? Where do I go? What's the next move? With the Plutonian energy, it is that karmic, intense, transformational vibe. And yeah, especially with death, these are like bookend types of energies that we do want to look into further. Judgment is one of those cards that can loop back around on you as well, aside from the karmic. Now, moving to the very back end, real quick, for your bonus card, we have the King of Wands. For those of you connected to a fire sign, maybe you have fire sign placements, not gender specific. I always say kings represent control of their respective suit. So when we see the King of Wands, it's about focused intent, focused action in a specific direction. This is very entrepreneurial, confident, bold. So again, with the Six of Wands, King of Wands, that is a very bold, confident type of energy, which I think could be really good for a lot of Libras here. But the King of Wands could sometimes be a little reckless, like we were seeing last week. So that's just something to watch out for here. Sometimes it could be scattered too. So if like you got a lot of things on your plate, this King of Wands might want you to focus in on one thing. So I want to dive deeper on all of it, Libra. Let's do it. Let's jump in and clarify. Okay, let's get a good shuffle here. What do we got for the lovely Libras? And yes, this is where I go intuitive with the message, which means I just tell you how it feels to me. So feel free to do further research or rely on your base knowledge of tarot, because as you know, every single reading is about the reader's interpretation, and I'm just giving you mine. Let's go in on that death card. Let's see what's happening. Oh, and yes, if you're a reader yourself, please feel free to play along. That's why the box is here. If you're feeling any messages you want to give to Libra, you could drop it in the comments. I don't mind at all. Okay, why is the death card here? Thank you. Okay. Tower in reverse. So it's like I have all the main scorpionic cards showing up here. Now, the tower to me, especially in reverse, of course, the tower represents shock. It is upheaval. We do have this powerful, explosive, change-based type of energy this week. So that's just something to be aware of, especially when we couple it on the back of the reading we had last week, where it felt very fiery, very daring, very risky. I mean, death with the tower in reverse. Obviously, for some of you, this could represent a close of a chapter, an end of a chapter. So just watch out for that. The energy might push forward in a very positive direction. That's something I could tell you. But yeah, when I see death with the tower in reverse, I was like, there's nothing I can really do about it. And yeah, I'm not saying you're throwing your hands up, but it's like that type of approach where it's like, yeah, things happen. I hate to say it like that. I mean, for some of you, this doesn't necessarily have to be bad, but I'm more linking this initially to like the death, judgment, tower in reverse. It is that shift and change. Because yes, the tower could be shock. Yes, it could be upheaval. Yes, it could be endings and all the things we already spoke about. So again, for some of you, that might be the case. But the main thing that I always say with the tower in reverse, it's something that's already happened, potentially. So to me, I feel like this is either explosive change or shocking change that is either coming in or that you may have recently undergone. Now, we're going to see how it plays out from here. That's very possible. But we're just going to keep moving. We're not going to overcomplicate it. It is what it is. We're not going to dwell and harp on it. But let's see what's up with the Six of Wands, because I think it's important where we go from here. But yeah, for some of you, this could be a close or an end of a chapter too, which happens, right? It's just the natural course of how things move along. Things start, things close. You know, let's keep seeing what the Six of Wands has, and we'll keep it moving. So why is the Six of Wands here? All right, this is someone trying to willpower their way through something, right? Like brute force mindset, which I think is important. That's a good thing. But when I see the Queen of Wands in reverse underneath the Six of Wands, it's trying to see the brighter side of things. Now, for some of you, that could be advice from spirit, where, you know, I'm a big believer in the power of perspective, the lens at which we view things. And we as human beings and creator beings, that's my personal belief, I feel like we can always shift and alter perspectives. Like the story we tell ourselves are super important. That's why mindset and optimism is like, it's almost a must in life sometimes. But the Queen of Wands is a big card about how one treats themselves, right? She's about self confidence, beauty, magnetism, right? She feels great. She's riding high. So when I see her in reverse underneath the Six of Wands, it's like I'm self coaching myself. I'm self talking myself. I'm convincing myself that everything is fine. Everything's going to be okay. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's actually a pretty good thing to do, especially if you're going through a bit of a rough patch. But yeah, the Six of Wands, is it a victory? Potentially. Could it be like a good energy on the back of something difficult? I do get that little dynamic too, where there might be like a loss or a problem, then a win, where it's like they're kind of sandwiched together. So watch out for big fluctuations in energy like that, where it's like, oh, this energy, that was really difficult. Oh, this one's good, but I can't enjoy it fully. It's like I'm getting a lot of energetic stimulus here. But I would say this is huge when it comes to mindset, self love, self care, how you view things, and the perspective that you frame them in. That's a big energy I'm picking up right here in the center. Hopefully, this isn't somebody that seems nonchalant or like they don't really care about something. And we're just going to keep going. Again, I feel like we don't need to overthink it or overtalk it. It is what it is. But let's see what's up with the Judgment card. Yeah, it's like I'm just along for the ride. And for some of you, yeah, watch out for things or situations where there's not much you can really do about it. That's part of it too. But let's see what's up with Judgment, and then we'll do a quick little recap before we get into the shadow. So, why is Judgment here for the lovely Libras, please? Why is Judgment here? Thank you. Okay. All right, so we have the Three of Pentacles and the upright. This is a big card of help, assistance. Whether this is someone coming to you asking for help or assistance, or you reaching out to somebody else, be that a friend, a relative, a professional. When I see Judgment with the Three of Pentacles, it's like, can I get your opinion on this? So there's something about advice or advising. Now, another thing I will mention, like when I see Judgment with this explosive change on the front, this could be change as well with energy helping it along. There could be a whole bunch of things that pop back up in this time. And I've seen it across the whole zodiac for a few weeks now, where there could be situations that pop back up. There could be certain events where they keep popping back up. There could be people. Like it could be a whole variety of different things. But when I see Judgment with the Three of Pentacles, it's like, hey Libra, we're here. Hi. There is this like returning, popping back up type of energy. Now, the Three of Pentacles could represent social groups, circle of people around you, support systems, huge when it comes to work and career. So, if those of you with Judgment and the Three of Pentacles, you might have work career things on your plate. This could be coming to a firm decision, but there is something here about help and assistance too. So, if you're going through a difficult one and you feel like you need help, don't be afraid to ask for it. Maybe someone's going to come to you for help or assistance as well, right? And because that's the big vibe I'm getting here is like, can I get your opinion? Can I get some advice here? Can you help me see clearly through this? Which I think is a good thing. So we have a couple of mixed wires going on because it's a mixture. There's some really good stuff, but I also see energy here that looks a little bit difficult. Let's go through and do a quick recap, then we'll get into the shadow. If you kindly look in the box, position number one, we got the Death card with the Tower in reverse. Big scorpionic energy here. I did say for some of you, this could be like an explosive change or even a shocking one. For a portion of you, this could be an ending or a close of a cycle or chapter. That's very possible. But the energy does move forward. That's something I could absolutely say. In the center, we do have the Six of Wands with the Queen of Wands in reverse. And to me, that's someone like trying to brute force mindset their way through something where it's like, nope, I'm reframing it. Nope, I'm changing my perspective. Nope, everything is perfect. Everything is fine, which I think is a good thing. Like, I would rather think happy thoughts than negative ones, regardless of the situation going on around me. There's also this energy of potentially things going on that might be a little bit out of your hands. Moving to the back end, I have Judgment with the Three of Pentacles, help, assistance, opinions, advice. That's a big thing here. So whether people are seeking it from you or you're seeking it from others, there is this underlying current aside from the change transformation that we've been seeing in a very powerful way of something potentially popping back up or returning in a way. So again, whether it's a situation, a thought process, you name it. But there's a lot of stuff going on here. Very intense energy, Libra. Please take a screenshot if you want to look into it further. Let's see what's in the shadows. And yeah, I always like to pull a shadow card at the very end just to see whether it's something within you or something you don't quite see. Shadow cards don't always have to be a challenge, they could be a good thing too. So let's get you one. And yeah, if you made it to this point in reading, please feel free to check out channel memberships. I'll put a link for it in the comments below. It's a beautiful way to support the channel. I have much love for my channel members. All right, let's get your shadow card out here, my friends. What do we got for the lovely Libras? Knight of Swords, fast, rapid. That was a big key component in the reading last week, that's for sure. That's why I felt a little risky. Now, the good thing about the Knight of Swords, that is one of your power cards. Knights represent communication and action. This one is usually very determined, tunnel vision. I need to do this, and I'm going for it. So, like, it is a very headstrong type of energy. But the downside of the Knight of Swords, it could be very quick to react. It could be very quick to decisions and choices. It's like really, really fast moving. So with what we saw last week and what we're seeing this week, I think it's super important to maybe slow the energy down when I see him. All right. I don't want to say it's too aggressive or it's moving too fast, but to me, it's like a lot of Weavers might benefit from just slowing something down. And since it is one of your power cards, the Knight of Swords could also represent how one views themselves, similar to that Queen we saw. So there is something here about self-worth, self-care, self-love, and taking care of oneself. So we're just going to leave it at that, Libra. That's what I got for you this week. Don't click away just yet, though. I'm going to give you the details of the June subscriber surprise. If you would like further insight on your situation or you'd like to have a chat with me, you can book a personal session with me on my website, mastermetaphysics.com. My June calendar is live and spots go quick, so you could go check that out. But for the June subscriber surprise, doing another winner's choice. The winners, which will be three, will have a choice between either the Everyday Witches Tarot, which is a lovely tarot deck, one of my all-time favorites, or you can choose a custom pendant from my website, mastermetaphysics.com. So if you'd like to get your name in for that, it's two simple things. As always, my friends, first, you must be subscribed. And second, let me know down in the comments, out of all the tarot cards in the deck, which one do you feel represents you and your energy best? You could even pick multiple if you'd like. You'll be entered to win, and at the end of the month, the winners will be announced in my community tab /post tab. My friends, much love, and I'll see you soon.